What's up guys, Lee Ryder here, Crypto Didact, and welcome to another analysis video. We just finished our Bitcoin video. We're gonna now do Litecoin. Once again, it is 12/13, that's a Wednesday, and let's take a look. Alrighty guys, welcome to our first Litecoin analysis. Now we just had a huge parabolic move. Is it sustainable? Probably not. But the big question y'all are probably wondering is, where do I buy the dip? And that's what we're going to talk about now. So let's get to the screens. What's up guys? Welcome to the Litecoin analysis video. This is the first one that I've done, but likely will continue along with our weekly Bitcoin analysis. So let's start off like normal. Let's look at the very high end of the spectrum, the 30,000 foot view, and let's look at the weekly chart. Now, this is crazy. This is one of those volume profiles y'all seen me talk about again, where this is FOMO right here, guys. This is where there's not been a lot of volume come in at each price level. This is like going back to our previous video where we had a lot of hype about Litecoin and going on CNBC and blah, blah, blah. Media attention is really not good for trading unless you bought well back here at the 103 level, which I had as a buy target. But regardless, you don't want to be buying inside this thing, right? So what this is telling me is that once again, people are making market orders, and essentially they're not really looking at what's realistic for the price. They're hearing the hype and they're buying the hype, and that's what this profile is telling me. So on the weekly chart, everything looks good, right? We're not seeing any indication yet that this trend is going to slow down. Now, is it going to mean revert to some degree? Most likely, but we have cycles up, we have momentums turning up. Everything looks good for this trend to continue, but is just going to market and buying a good idea? I don't think so, and we'll have to dial down and look at why that's the case. So let's move down to the daily chart. So on the daily chart, we start to see a little more clarity about what's really happening in the market. We're forming these tweezer tops right here. This is usually an indication of a topping signal. And if you watch my previous videos about what's happening inside the bar, we'll understand why, because there's basically a very extreme battle that's happening right now. And the fact that it's happening 2 candles in a row usually means that the price wants to move the other direction, and it's losing the steam to maintain that upward momentum. So as we start to look here, same thing. This volume profile is trash. There's no money put at any specific price. This is the classic like FOMO pattern. And when this happened with Bitcoin a while back, I talked about it, and the price did roll back over, and it started to thicken up some of these areas. But as of right now, I cannot say that I'm not putting my money in right now. Again, like I said, we had a buy around the $100 level. 103 was the buy, but basically after that it just levitated. So I have taken profits at these levels, so just letting y'all know what I'm doing. So when we look at where is price potentially going to bounce on the daily chart, we really have back down, all the way back down to this 130 to like the 110 area, this box right here. And I'm gathering that information from the volume profile, because this will be a level that will likely, the price will instantly move away from. Like we talked about in the weekly, Litecoin is probably going to move higher, but when to buy is crucial right now, because if you buy at 300, when Litecoin's at 1,000, if you would have bought at, let's say, 150, you would have doubled your return. So this is why it's crucial that we do this analysis and we do not get scared and we do not participate in the FOMO. So as of right here, we can see a little bit of indication that the trend is slowing. You can see we're no longer moving higher on our cycle, on our RSI, and we're starting to flatten out a little bit. Same thing on the momentum, and actually on the shorter momentum, we're starting to see it roll over a little bit, and we're starting to see a little flat line on our longer momentum. So that's kind of where we're at. let's dial down a little bit further. So now we come down to the hourly. This is where it starts to get really interesting, and we really start to see what's happening in the Litecoin market right now. So the volume profile now, obviously, because we're scaled in, we can actually start to see these pockets of what the price is doing and what people are doing. So same thing, we have a normal distribution here. We are trading in the middle of that range, which means the market is trying to determine value right now. The next big pocket is going to be down here where we were talking about earlier on the higher time frames, that 120, 130, 140 area. So there are a couple places in between that price could potentially find support and reverse. And the first level is going to be around this 260 to 250 level. And I'm getting this once again from the volume profile, from this low volume node or vacuum area. And what this means is that price is going to want to either come through here and reject away from it, or it's going to want to keep going even further. It just does not want to be in that zone. So that's a big thing. The next thing, like we talked about with Bitcoin that's happening right now, is that we're seeing divergence, and this is bearish divergence. So as we can see here on the price chart, we're making higher highs. The price is moving higher, but our cycle indicator and our momentum indicators are all down, and these are extreme, right? Like this is very low. And so this is an indication that the market is losing steam in the current move, and it needs to move higher, or it needs to move lower, I'm sorry, because it needs to find value. So the levels that we want to watch on this time frame are going to be this 250 level. We also want to watch about the 210 level, the 190 level, the 150 level, and I don't know if it'll get this low, but obviously an awesome buying opportunity down here. I doubt it will make it that high, because like I said on the weekly chart, we're likely gonna move higher. That's what the market is showing us it wants to do. It just needs to kind of find its legs. So let's dial down a little bit further, and we will go down to the 10-minute, and this is more of real time what's happening. So that same area that we saw on the hourly, you can see a little bigger here on this chart. Same thing, we're trading in the middle of this volume profile, which this is a no trade zone, guys. So if I'm going to put my no trade zone up, the no trade zone is going to be up here at 340, and really we want to wait for price to come in and come here into this level, into this 260 level, this vacuum area, and we want to see, is price going to reject away from it? If it does, then that's an area where we could potentially put a trade on. But I've shown with some of these trend lines right here, maybe what we could expect in the future if this longer trend holds, which would be a more realistic one right here. We're looking price to fall down into the low 200s. So if that's the case, and we've already started the rollover, then really I think when we get to this level, we're gonna very quickly move through it and come all the way down and likely get rejected around this level here. So I think if we're looking and being fair about the move, 200 really seems like a much better level to buy, and one that's more realistic, especially with what we're seeing right now. Basically just a lot of days of price discovery. You can see these long that have these multiple profiles within them. This is the market trying to find, sorry, they got a little messy there. So this is the market trying to find what is a valuable price, because no one really knows. So right now we're actually starting to get a more normal distribution, but we can see the market wants to roll over a little bit. So that's pretty much it, guys. It definitely looks like we're going to roll over. How far we're going to go, like I said, I think a 50% correction of this move would not be unrealistic. I think the first area that we want to watch for is this 250 to 270 area that I have here. And I don't know if that's exact. I apologize. Let me try to get some closer to real numbers. Yeah, so 267, 270, and then, yeah, 250. So that's about right. That's what we want to watch to hold. That's the big level that we want to watch. So if price comes to this level and breaks through, then I would really expect that we're going to see down to the high 200s, But if not, then yeah, we probably need to watch and see if we're gonna go higher. So above 340, good buying opportunity, because that's a signal we're moving higher. The market is telling us we are ready to move higher. But I think we need to watch the downside, guys. So I want y'all to be careful and just watch these levels. I think these are the three zones that I would be looking to be buying for. Honestly, I think this zone right here is the one that's gonna be the winner, just from my experience. But I hope that was helpful, guys, and we'll see y'all in the next video. All right, guys, so just to recap what we talked about, it is looking like the Litecoin market wants to roll over, and we're seeing that in several different ways. The first way is the volume profile is very thin, which means that there's not a lot of volume coming in at each price level. There's basically market orders being executed that is just levitating the bid, and there's not a lot of transactions in between those levels. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we're starting to see divergence. And as we've talked about, divergence is a signal that the market is running out of its current momentum, and we need to watch for that. So that's the second thing. And so since we know this, we need to prepare for that and look at where we can buy the dips. And we've laid out a couple areas and we talked about them. And the first one is gonna be this 250 to 270 level. Now, if this holds, this is going to be a great buying opportunity, because this is a vacuum area, a low volume node, and the market generally will want to reject away from this. It'll either want to reject to the downside or the upside. So that's the first level we want to watch and see what is happening there. How is the market reacting? The next level below that is going to be in the high 200s to around the $200 level. Now for me, this looks like a much better buying opportunity, and one that has more legs than the 250 level. We won't know that until we watch, but it's something that we want to keep an eye out on. So the big thing is to watch the divergence, guys. Watch that 250 level and see if price is going to hold, and see how the market reacts to that. And then if it doesn't hold, then get your buy orders ready around that $200 level. So hope that was helpful, guys. We'll see you on the next video.